Ever think a summer job could be a big deal in a presidential election? Well, get this. Our deep dive today is all about that. It's the 2024 U.S. presidential race, and we're serving up a side of French fries with our political strategy.
It's really wild how something like working at McDonald's as a teen can become like a weapon in a campaign. It says a lot about how candidates try to seem relatable, especially in a tight race, like in Pennsylvania.
Totally. It's like every little thing, even from way back when, suddenly matters when you need votes. And here we've got former President Trump and Vice President Harris both trying to win over folks in the Keystone State.
Right, right. And the interesting thing is how they're both using their past experiences, or at least how they talk about them, to try and connect with voters.
So let's back up a sec. Trump, who we know loves his fast food, and let's face it, a little drama, holds this event at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. Not just for a photo op and a Diet Coke either. The guy actually gets behind the counter wearing an apron and everything, serving people.
It was a total performance, totally calculated to make headlines and change how we see the candidates, right? This wasn't about burgers. It was about flipping the script.
Makes you wonder, why McDonald's? Why do it this way? Did it even work?
Well, remember, Harris talks about working at McDonald's as a teenager, right?
Yeah.
Her campaign uses that to show her work ethic, her regular middle-class upbringing. Trump, coming from wealth, needs a different story, a way to relate.
And what better way than like taking over a McDonald's?
Exactly. He's directly challenging her story, even says, without proof, that she made the whole thing up. This, whether it works or not, shows a bigger trend. Politics mixing with made-up stories.
Like a political show and tell where the best story wins, even if it's not totally true. But then, do voters even care about that? Do we want realness, or is it all just a show now?
Million-dollar question.
Yeah.
It's something to think about because it's not just burgers and fries anymore. It's about how we decide who to trust when we vote.
And speaking of trust, how about Trump adding, wait for it, birthday wishes to this whole McDonald's thing?
Yeah, it was Harris's 60th birthday. And he just comes out and wishes her a happy birthday. Right there, in the middle of it all. Some might say it's bold, others will, well, weird.
Talk about an interesting way to run a campaign, right? But besides being kind of strange, what was he even going for with the birthday wishes in the middle of all that?
Yeah, it's pretty out there. Like, on the surface, it seems nice, but he's basically saying she can't be trusted ANZs wishing her happy birthday. It's kind of much.
Trying to have it both ways, maybe. Knock her down, but still look good doing it.
You got it. That whole thing just shows how weird politics is now. You got to seem relatable, but also in charge. All while trying to make everyone believe your version of things.
And this McDonald's thing really shows how something small from a candidate's past can become a big deal. It's like voters want to see that just like a side of a politician.
For sure. Trump and Harris both know a good story is powerful.
Yeah.
They're both tapping into that need we have to feel like they get us, even if it feels staged sometimes.
Makes you think, right? In a world with so much information, do we even care if it's real anymore? Are we so used to the spin, the perfect photos, that we don't mind if they stretch the truth a little? Or do we actually want realness from our leaders?
No easy answer, right? Maybe it's different for everyone. But one thing's for sure, this McDonald's thing, with all its politics and personal stuff, really shows how strange the relationship between voters and candidates has become. It makes us ask, how do we even know what's real? How do we make sense of all this? And in the end, who do we trust enough to vote for?
So where does that leave us trying to figure out this crazy political world?
Got to think critically, that's key. When you see these different stories, these carefully put together images, think about why they're showing you that.
Can't just believe everything, right? We got to be smarter than that when it comes to politics.
Exactly. Ask questions, think about who's saying it, and don't be afraid to look closer. Because figuring out the why behind the what is how we make good decisions.
It's like we got to be detectives or something, watching every little thing a politician does. But really, this McDonald's thing, weird as it is, shows how much weight even the smallest details can have.
Yeah, in this day and age, everything you do, everything you say, even a birthday wish, it all gets picked apart, becomes part of the campaign story.
So it's not just what you do, it's how you look doing it, right? The story behind the story, like you said.
Exactly. And this whole McDonald's thing, it's the perfect example, right? It's all about controlling how people see things, even if it means blurring the lines a little between what's real and what's, well, good PR.
So as we get closer to the election, what's the one thing you hope people listening will remember from all this?
I'd say don't check out. Don't just accept what you see on the surface. Really think about the why, the motivation behind everything.
Be careful what you believe, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Be informed, Think for yourself, because that's how we make good choices when it's time to vote.
That's some solid advice. Who knew we'd end up talking about burgers and politics and how they all tie together? It's a good reminder that things aren't always what they seem, and sometimes you gotta look a little closer to get the whole picture.